Where are we at? Where are we at? Yeah, it's working. Okay, I see. Okay. Get out of Instagram. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So that should be working now. Is it live? It's still not live. Over here. Want to make sure that we review the plan before we get to it. 62 PFP dot. Just review it all. All right, and here. Was ist das? Was ist gut? Was ist das? Ja, ja, ja. Was ist gut? Was ist das? Do you know who Modo is? Or am I just doing this all alone? I think you know who Modo is. You should know. Yeah. Um, Kimmy, 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 Kimmy. Yeah, I wish I had Cloudflow. Yeah, so flow next, that worked. So let's just get into it. Fn dash. Okay, good. Yeah. All right, time to get some memory in here, I guess. I don't like Kimmy clean. We're gonna skip route. Which of these solutions are compatible with OpenCode? So basically, I like using Cloudflow for Claude Code, but it mostly won't work for OpenCode. And since I really want some of those tools, I'm just going to look for one-off tools that do the same things. Cloudflow is just a collection of tools anyway, so I just got to make sure that what I'm downloading is legit and not garabaichi. No garabaichi. Okay. Okay. Please only suggest open source and free options. I'm not paying for another AI tool just yet. Can you also, for each of these, let me know if OpenCode or Kimi CLI come with this built in? Hey, we're back. Living with my mom. Things are crazy. Yeah, she got a little wild here at Casa del Casa. All right, where are we at? Intelligent routing hooks, open code, yes. Kurwa Jezu. Kimmy, not me, CLI. Kimmy. Moonshots. Kimmy, CLI. Yeah, basically, I mean, I'm still a little bit confused about certain things, but ultimately, I'm curious if Kimi Code or Kimi CLI or Open Code comes with, yeah. So there is a simple memory built in. No. Okay. Yes. All right, I'm gonna install these things because it doesn't make any sense. All right. Well, basically, I'm getting some kicks out of trying to understand whether Open Code with Kimi Code API key connected has things like swarming tools or persistent memory or semantic search or cross agent session search or yada yada and it's kind of like Kimi Code doesn't actually know what Kimi Code is. It's telling me that Kimi Code is a VS Code fork with Kimi AI integration. No, what? That's a hallucination. It's designed for single agent coding and sorry, I got distracted. Single agent coding assistance, not swarm orchestration. I'm sure. So none of that seems accurate. Let's see, Open Code Swarm plugin. By who? Prime Inc. Yeah. See, 0 stars, 0 watching. I just like don't even want to install it. I don't want to install weird shit like this unless it's got stars and forks. You know, this is this kind of stuff that installs malware on your computer. Let's go back to the original question then. Scroll up. One of my favorite tricks in the LLMs is to talk all the way down, and then when you are kind of done with that line of thought, go all the way to the top, and then change the edit one of the messages, edit the message, the last message before you kind of forked, and then update it and just reproduce reset the context. I think that works. It's how I've been using it. Okay. Yeah, super memory, of course, but that's because super memory is it's not free. At least I don't think it's free. I thought Supercode was charging. You need an API key. Yeah, you do need an API key. So I gotta go back to the original question and yeah, it seems a little unfortunate to me that at least it appears that there are significant enough architectural differences between Claude Code and Kimi that we can't simply port plugins over. I was expecting a little bit more, well, maybe a little bit more. I was expecting it to be mostly compatible. So some of the tools I use are compatible, and a lot of the others are not. Okay. Yeah, it was literally some bullshit. That's what I thought. I'm getting the impression that Kimi lies more than Claude. All right. Okay, good. Joel Hooks. Joel Hooks. Mm-hmm. So we're taking a look at what? Install. What is going on? yelling at the LLM now, so I feel like I should just be typing that. Kind of an unfortunate time to get off of Claude Code because it was better. As much as I like OpenCode's UI, we made some changes, simple changes to the website, marketing page changes, and for some reason it's just it's calling a bunch of context scouts. Kimmy's a little disappointed. I was super enthusiastic, but I believe even now that the problem is probably just the lack of these additional tools, you know. So I actually really just need to get these additional tools installed so that I can leverage the agents better, essentially. Okay, done. Use /swarm your task. Okay. Okay. Get back to task tracker. Yeah, good. Okay, cool. Swarm tools, done. High rapport. Super memory. Coding agent session search. Why? Okay. Mm-hmm. One of the questions I have is, what is the HNSW search that Cloudflow uses? I'm curious. So basically now we just want to find a broad web search. Can we do a broad web search for agent memory? We need something that tracks positive and negative, or rather productive and unproductive development and AI patterns, and then saves them. That's one of the features of Cloudflow that is just really cool. Do we have anything like that anywhere? Let's maybe just take a look at OpenCode Supermemory real quick. You know, I want free tools, but free and local, but when in doubt. Supermemory.ai, essentially. This integration requires Supermemory Pro. Yeah, how much does it cost? It doesn't tell you. Fun, Marson. No, I said what happened because... No, I said what happened because it looked like you'd stalled out and did not actually produce any responses. I just saw your last tool use, which was IPLD data model semantic web something. So I'm just curious what you found out because I don't see it. Okay. Oh, the menu of tools. The problem with every tool is that it's just a menu of more fucking tools. My phone is just popping shit up in front of me, and my computers are popping shit up in front of me, and that's what I opted in for. But I would also like to opt out, but there's not a ton of good options. I do want to try like a e-ink device, but I'm not there yet. Clearly. What's up? Long ass one-time code. Insert that long ass one-time code. I don't want to create an organization. Fine. Okay. Okay, it's literally just an API key. It's free. Interesting. Yeah, I don't want to use it, but for now I'm going to use it. We don't have a ton of options, so we're going to use it. Yes, we're going to use it. La, 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 la. Ba-da-da, 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 da-da-da. All right. For the first question, I just want you to debug the actual hydration issue and fix it because we want to be able to use these components anywhere for normal things like tables. Yeah, I can check my browser dev tools, but it's not even loading, so we're not gonna get it. See, this is the kind of stuff like that I'm talking about a little bit. It's asking me dumb questions, and I've gotten accustomed to not answering dumb questions only. So for your first question, yes, debug the mantine hydration issue. We need that. We need to be able to use tables. Also, I will check the DevTools console, but and return it here. It's below, as is the critical gap found message on the SEO audit page. That's not properly rendering either. Yeah, here's your answers. Get to it. Okay. Good. So, studio integration. Please test. Please test. Please test. Yes, please test with 4 random ducks in the test books folder. Yeah, this is a question. How do I get audio in here without triggering YouTube? I don't know. Kimmy. Kimmy's a little. What's Kimmy doing? I don't know what's Kimmy doing, but we're gonna do some. We're gonna do some exercises. Yeah, let's get back. Let's plan review in dash. 3, 2, 1. So basically, we're just gonna review the plan. All I constantly am doing is planning, reviewing plans, reviewing the plans again, changing the scope of the plan, reviewing it again, sending a bunch of agents to do an analysis, and then finally putting it into work. Okay. Okay, super memory. Huh. What the fuck is bun? Bun.sa. What is bun? Interesting. Bun, 3 times faster than Node. Interesting. I see. So we're all using Bun now. Thanks, Cloud Code. Interesting. Really bizarre. I just tried it and I got 404 issues. I don't know why you created this page to test it. All I need you to do is to actually open the browser, upload the documents, and actually use the application to ensure that the outputs we're expecting are the outputs we're getting. And to be sure, the outputs we're expecting were made clear in the requirements. We should accurately surface all the chapters and sections and the text that belongs to each chapter and section. Okay. So we did the last plan review for the, still working on the SEO mismatch. I don't know. Yeah, Kimmy has different priors than Claude. Kimmy just makes different kinds of mistakes, it seems like. Or maybe I'm just having a particular experience this time around. Because these non-deterministic things ultimately, to some degree, I think like basically the thoughts that I have around ensemble and time averages totally applies to these too, where the ensemble average might be that they both have the same kinds of mistakes, but the time average might send me on a particular down a. Okay, you're no longer in plan mode. You can use any of the 4 books. Definitely include the Kruppen one as well. I should stop though, and I should get this going. Okay, that's up. 1. Yes, cool. Bun is resolving. Good stuff. Hmm. Yeah, so what's next? All right, I'm just getting the API key from SuperMemory. I've got mixed feelings about using this. I would prefer something local, but I would prefer having the solution than not. So we're gonna go with this version. Although maybe it's just gonna suck. Maybe I won't want it. No. No. Don't make me fucking log in again. These bitches, yeah. It's $20 a month, and they don't tell you the price anywhere. Interesting. Of course, they get your email. They get your. There's a lot of friction up until that point. Well, let's keep going. Okay, that's not working. Let's keep going. Done. Push to main. Let's see if this SEO page ever got finished, or if we're still running in the circles. What is it? Okay. Oh. Wow. Okay. Okay, I see the latest updates in the SEO audit, and it looks like there's a bunch of pages and paths that simply don't have what they need to have. We don't have a author bio, we don't have article schema, we don't have a status, we don't have. You're also missing additional columns here, I think, for the different kinds of structured content that we're going to use. Yeah. And then you have a number of critical action items here at the bottom. So I think there's plenty to get to. What do you think? Is there anything else that's not on this list that we need to add? Is there any other alternative to OpenCode supermemory that is open source? And compatible with OpenCode? Of course. Cool. You can add all of these columns, or you can make these missing columns labels that we can add or remove to a structured content column, since these are all largely, actually, they're not all structured content issues. Things like speakable schema, FAQ schema, QA page schema, those are all structured content things. But then like canonical URLs, OG images, those are other things. If you can make sure that this list is A, comprehensive, and then B, MECE, then we can be sure to apply what we need to apply on each of the pages we are making for searchability, marketing, outreach, and inbound content. You can go ahead and make a priority column, but I would say not even, because we're going to do all of these. I don't want a filter or search feature. I don't need export functionality. I just wanted this for us to both track the work that we're trying to do. This needs to be comprehensive and our source of truth. Yeah. Okay. Fun stuff. San Escobar. I don't know. I need music in this thing, but I need music I can actually play. I don't know. I've never streamed before. I don't know how to actually play without, I know that I can get taken down for that stuff. That's all I know. Yeah, I just don't know. I just won't be able to do it for now. Mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. I love Amisi. Where are we at? We're sending raw binary. Great. Yeah, you get to fixing that shit. It's so important. So important to have the AI in a loop, ensuring that it's meeting the success criteria. That's like the first thing. You know, people who do this stuff, they think that planning is like, oh yeah, you need a plan. You always need a plan. You need a plan. You know, in 2026 you need a plan. In 2025 you needed a plan. We'll see about Q4 2026, but yeah, you need a plan. You know, like you still need to know what you're building, and that was like the work that I did for a long time. You know, basically building really complex requirements, and I used a lot of UX tools to do that for clients, global teams, whatever. And you need a plan. Just because you can move faster now doesn't mean you can stop planning. You can crash a lot faster is what you can do with all this speed. So you need to plan, but you need to validate. That's number one. Yes, yes. All right, I'm gonna take a quick one. I'll be right back. You learn something new every day. I didn't realize Jack Nicholson turned down the lead role in Godfather. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's good. All right, what do we got? Okay. Yeah, go ahead and build and push. Okay, that's that, and now the parser. Kimmy, you have access to the browser. I know that you have a browser plugin. Can you just test this yourself without... Oops, my bad. Kimmy, I know you have access to the browser and that you can run this test directly in the browser. Could you go ahead and do that for me? If Kimmy can't do it, then I can have Kimmy open Claude, tell Claude to do it, and then Kimmy can watch Claude do it and see where the problems are. Pay attention to the logs or whatever. But no, Kimmy has a fucking browser, so... First and foremost, Kimmy doesn't know what Kimmy has. Kimmy has zero idea about Kimmy's capabilities. Cool. I'm splitting my charger between two laptops and a phone. Hey. Where are we at? Yeah, okay. Actually, I forgot the MacBook M1s. I can charge this thing off a 32-watt charger. It's so crazy. Because the brick I have for my 2019 MacBook is 100 watts. So I can actually charge my laptop, the M1, with the charger that I use for my cell phone. It's kind of nuts. But that's what makes this one so special, right? It's that efficiency. Yeah, it's a different kind of efficiency. You know, like, so when people think of like fuel efficiency, they usually think of a performance cost. But is that like necessarily the case, or is that just a different kind of efficiency that was achieved with the MacBook M1 series, or the whole M series? Because again, I can charge this with a cell phone charger, and it's way more powerful. So, is that just like an erroneous assumption on the part of car fans, you know, whatever. Or, you know, who knows what I'm missing. Okay, we're good. Comprehensive SEO audit dashboard. Okay, yeah, let's check it out. Oh yeah, that's pretty comprehensive. And the thing about all of these is that they get lazy because they think they're trying to fit everything into one context window or something. And so if it has to produce long lists, like a list of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, like a list of like 120 pages, it's just gonna chunk them up. It's gonna cluster them, by path, because it's just like, I don't want to do all that, and it's like, but that was the job. Okay. It's great that you have these grouped by path, but we need to be able to expand this table row to see, for instance, under tools pages, we should see 17 URLs with the same checklist. Under the books pages row, we should be able to expand it and see 24 pages. Same thing with alternative pages and compare pages and book lists. Each one of these rows should be expandable, and it should reveal all of the subpages in that belong to that path. Because we're going to need to apply all of these, all of this SEO coverage. We're going to need to ensure that these are affected in every single page. Every single page. Maybe we can set some of these at the parent level, but we definitely cannot set these at the parent level for everything. Maybe some things we can, maybe. But we're gonna need to definitely set it at the individual page level. So can you do that so we can improve our tracking? Oh yeah, let me try this. I do like Flownext. I'm not using it right now, or I have been kind of using it and not using it, but going back and forth is what I'm trying to say. But ultimately, it's missing things. I liked Cloudflow. I realized that was real. That was real shit. Okay. And now we're back on the parser. We can absolutely test it. You just have to wait a little bit, but we can test it now for sure. The code integration is correct. Let's see. OpenRouter. I chewed through a bunch of credits on OpenRouter. I accidentally turned on a web search for every single call. So instead of just being sub-cents, it was 2 cents. Oh shit. And I'm doing it again. No, that's my personal account, thank goodness. Bingo. Yeah, that's what we want. Let me make sure my personal account is not getting tapped still though. Because I ran through credits on my personal one for sure. Yeah, I'm using it a lot for transcription. Nice, yeah, so I threw that web search thing kind of screwed me up a little bit. Thankfully, it was only like $25. But that would have just drained whatever I had. Okay, we're here, credits, activity, for sure. And we are using free, right? Yeah, we are. R1. Which model are we using? Which? Occasionally I type things out because it's too embarrassing to say it. No, I was just telling it to like I don't even know which models it thinks it's using. Like, which models are we using? Why are we running into limits? We shouldn't be running into any limits at this pace. Okay. I ended up finding Flow next through the whole Wiggum phase. There's a person that I was following who had made a Wiggum like sub skill. You know, that was part of his part of his app, and it resolved some of the issues with the whole Wiggum loop. So that's how I ended up downloading it. But that also just introduced me to flow control in general, which is, you know, in a weird way, kind of what I think Wiggum is, but in a very restrictive, in a very limited way. I think that's what it is. Whereas with Flow Next, it's also restricted, but it uses less tokens, frankly. It uses less tokens than Wiggum, and I'm not exactly sure how. It might do that by saving information across sessions, key information. It might do something like that, but I don't know. Plan review complete. Good. Okay. So I'm using Flow Next again to just jump on that. And then that's the SEO one. We're going back to the parser. Okay, those are the models we're using. Paid models. Can we just do a fallback to the paid models listed, or comparable paid models that are the most affordable of their category, for development, just for localhost? That would be ideal. How does that sound to you? No, switch. But yeah, as I was saying way back, validation is really the differentiator between working software and a pile of code. You know, even if you plan it, your code doesn't. You know, you'd have to plan so detailed to make sure that everything would work. That I don't think that planning is going to be the thing that actually bridges the gap between like fully autonomous code and or fully autonomous, you know, plan agnostic approach will enable, or what was the sentence there? But basically, yeah, you'll need to we're going to need to develop something other than plans to make the leap from in order to actually obviate what's it called, the validation part, you know. Yeah, validating is even more important than plans, which is why test-driven development is a thing. Of course, I'm just winging it here. I'm spitballing, but yeah, test-driven development that's why it's so important, because it's like it's validation built into the development. You know, it's as important as development itself. So planning alone isn't the end all be all that it's often made out to be by, I think, finfluencers, you know. And then next week you'll get another video on how validation is the distinguishing factor, you know, if you ever get that video at all. That might just be really boring. But if you ever found yourself on the back end of a UAT that's, you know, well, a laundry list of weird little things to shift and click, then you understand why you wouldn't want to be the one to have to do all of it. I got this mango punch. I got it because it was $2.99. And I didn't check the ingredients. And like literally the first ingredient after fucking water, that's about, you know, almost 2 liters of water. It's fructose corn syrup. It's high fructose corn syrup, which means that there's more fructose than glucose, which would make it really difficult for people, certain kinds of people, to like digest. How does that work? The fructose goes directly into the bloodstream, I think, through the liver, and that could actually increase your blood sugar levels faster than glucose, especially because then the ratio's off, right? If it's if it's just fructose corn syrup, it might be different, but if it's high fructose corn syrup, then I think this could be an issue. Now, I don't totally care. I finished it in a day. But, you know, the more you know. Yeah. No. Okay. So SEO Gaps got back to me. Done. Pushed. 5 expandable thingamajiggers. And it's like not even close. But I might just be looking at a cached version online. So local host not working. So we need to make sure we're checking it on localhost. Eventually, I'll probably have a little screen in there somewhere of what I'm doing. But honestly, what I'm doing up here isn't even important. What happens is up here. That's where the magic comes from. So that's really what this is about. That's what this is about. Getting juiced up, getting high energy, getting max energy. Okay. Interesting, yeah. So I just got an email from a friend. Interesting idea. Everyone does this, right? They start brainstorming as they're reading. So like you're invited to every consulting session on lessons from a year of AI consulting. Lessons from a year of AI consulting. I didn't actually properly register that sentence. I was just like, every consulting, there's like a year-long something. And I was thinking like, AI has completely transformed the way we work and we've watched our clients make the same leap. And when I hear that, I think like we're all going through this. Like we're all experiencing this like tectonic shift. It's just it's it's one of those shifts that's like just completely resetting the stage, the technology stage, the technology ecosystem, the techno system, and that's going to like define the next series of technological leaps. Um, Before I get totally off track, we're all going through this, and for the people who are new, great. I'll see you. I'll see you on the other side. But for the people that have been doing this for a minute, you recognize that there's a lot. There's a lot to share. There's a lot to share in this experience that can't and shouldn't just be the product of or just shared through reports and fucking influencers. Like some of this stuff just has to be like, I don't know, not enough space for some of the um, I don't hear enough real exposure, you know? Like everyone's out here with your asses out. Everyone is, and I don't see enough of that isn't like truly desperate, but also doesn't just see this as a continuation of what we had, such that they're ready to get back on the wheel, you know? It's just like these really two extremes, and I am like this is more of like got to get something going, and also this is a kind of a super addictive and fun, but that aside, there's just like not enough exposure. Now, what was the point? Forgot exactly what the point was. Where are we at? Localhost is working. Cool. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. Cool. This worked, more or less. No, it's loading now. It looks great. My question now is, how accurate is this table? I want you to make a list of all the pages and all of the categories. I have to stop because this is all wrong, because it actually, so the tools pages in one, it has 15, and the other has 17. Books has 24. Okay, it produced something wrong. See, this is, I'm regressing here. I wanted to keep track of all the pages and precisely what they need. In doing that, it made some mistakes in listing all the pages, and it probably just hallucinated what they need. So my, what Kimmy, can you take another close look at the contents of these page categories? So we have tools and books and alternative pages and compare pages, etc. And you have numbers listed for them: 15 pages, 12 pages, 5 pages, 1 page, and 2 pages. However, previously, You had 17 tools pages. You had 24 books pages, where you currently have 12. You had 8 compare pages, where you currently have 1. You had 15 book list pages, where you currently have 2. We also have the Polish and Turkish pages, which are not even mentioned here. What happened? Don't begin working, just tell me what happened, so that we can avoid this in the future. That would be a promising thing to say to a person of basic intelligence, but AI intelligence is spiky. It peaks really, really, really high in very specific ways and areas, and then it'll just fail on you for really basic requests like mine right now. Or, is it really basic though? Maybe I'm mixing up a few things. I don't know. Please identify the total numbers of pages for each category, and then ensure that you have the full list entered into each table. After that, we will verify what SEO what optimization features have been implemented. Plan. Yeah, so liver. Not ideal, but that's what they had, and I'm never going back to that place again. That was Cermak. It looks like the grocery stores that I liked to visit, or that I like to visit. It looked like the grocery store that I would go to in Mexico, and I actually think that they're using the same kind of shelving because they cater to sort of the Mexican market, and the shelving actually feels like I'm in Mexico. Everything's very tall and very tightly packed. They pack a lot into an aisle, and it felt like the same narrow aisles, very tall aisles, very packed in there, products. But they didn't have a good selection of juice. So actually, they had a fine selection of juice. Selection of juice was perfectly fine, but it was too expensive. So I'm gonna hit up one of the other 50 grocery stores within like a 30-minute driving range. It's kind of wild. Back home. Okay, what happened? I used the wrong data files. I imported files that didn't contain all the pages. Book hub pages, not 15. I don't know that. Why do any of these pages contain stale information? Is this important? For instance, tools. I see. As I read forward, I see that you actually aren't sure. You haven't even verified whether there are pages missing. I see. Yes, I'm going to need you to look for all of the pages that are not the studio pages, that are not the app pages reserved for registered members. I'm going to need you to find all of the pages. Enter them into the category they belong in. Do what we've been talking about doing with all of the pages. Goodness. All this talking, I just talk all day. Is part of the reason why I'm streaming now is because I've been fucking talking all day to this AI. Might as well, I just want to record myself. I've created a test page, but honestly, the browser automation is proving difficult. Let me summarize what I accomplished. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, then let me just do it. I don't know why Kimmy's having a hard time with the browser, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna push her. I could probably use Claude for that. But I don't want to use Claude for that if I don't want to use two AI tools right now. I can't believe they got me on repo prompt of all things. I'm thinking that I might just cancel that too. Okay. Krupin. So Krupin is the cultural construction of executive function. It's a paper that I've been interested in. It's it seems like there's a little thing going on. Actually, I don't know much about what's going on. I just know from this one video I watched that there's like a little spat between executive function folks and IQ folks, and that spat is probably little. I don't know, just roughly how I'm interpreting it, but hey, that worked. That seemed to work. Results, DCF task. Weird. Yeah. Wow, this worked. This was fucking stellar. Okay. Cool. But now I can't click next. Why? Oh, because I didn't select anything. And now that it's here, I would like it to remain here. So like I should be able to transform text. We're all good. Estimated 2 cents. Okay, so I wanted to get into this paper a little bit. I heard the discussion between Krupin, I think that was his name, and the person who was interviewing him. I have no idea. This is how I found the paper too. And it was super interesting. I couldn't tell you anything about it now. It's been a few days and I've got a lot going on. But I wanted to dig into it a bit more. And so I grabbed one of the papers that they were talking about in the show notes here, and I got it in Dummy, the app I'm building. And so I hit the transform, select the chapters. It's going to go ahead and change all the text, make it very simple and legible, and kind of explain it. And I'll let that do its thing. Oh wow, that was quick. And then it'll read it to me, which is what we're doing. Okay. Can you please ensure that when I'm forwarded to the structure page, all of the chapters that were created are automatically selected? Currently, none of them are selected. And I want to do that because if they're all selected, then you can just hit next and go to the next screen, you know? That way you don't have to fiddle around with any of the controls on this. All right. Significance. Executive function, often abbreviated as EF, refers to a set of cognitive control abilities that are commonly thought to be universal. However, the tools used to measure these abilities have not been deployed or applied universally. Instead, most data on EF development comes from industrialized societies where schooling is widespread, often referred to as schooled worlds. They don't have any. Okay. They don't make direct reference to weird here. What is that, like Western, educated, industrialized? Is that democratic? I don't know. Because we're not democratic. But so this study compares how children from school societies perform on a typical EF tasks, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this is definitely dope. Everything come through? Oh, super weird. If I select it, it doesn't activate. Okay. Oh, my bad. Copy. Yeah, the UI for OpenCode is ridiculous. It's so nice. there's menus in here. I can select text and it copies automatically, and I can select messages and revert, copy, fork. It's really sweet. It's impressive. It's impressive for me because of all of the praise that Claude Code's UI got. I just like, yeah, sure, it's nice, it's good, it's a hell of a lot better than Gemini's. I don't think I used Codex. I used Codex for like a hot second, way back. I don't remember what that was like, but Open Code doesn't, like, I don't hear people talking about the UI for Open Code, and it's simply better. It's better because it's also more consistent. It actually works the way you want it to work. Maybe that'll change if I were to add a bunch of plugins that add things to the UI, but Claude was also a little bare in a way that I even liked. But I thought I thought it had to be bare like that. I didn't realize that you could do this. This is in relation to that, it's impressive. So I think. And what was I going to point out here? I totally forgot what we were doing. Yeah, okay, we got that. Please ensure the format of the structured page. Oh, right. I'm also noticing a weird bug on the transform page. Whenever I activate a new chapter or a new section, that section doesn't appear in the box to the right. When selecting a section or chapter, the corresponding boxes on the right should update with the original text and the transform text. Ask me any questions if you want to refine the requirements. Normally, I don't give it the option of asking me questions. I just ensure that it asks me questions I tell it to, because then it has to think about whether or not the requirements need to be refined and whether it needs more. It's like, no, just take my questions here. All right, we're gonna do another 10 reps. Oh, is it ready already? Okay. Perfect. I can see the complete picture. Should I trust the sitemap TS? Don't trust that the sitemap.ts is the complete source of truth. In fact, updating the sitemap is probably one of the activities we need to add to our search optimization checklist. Yes, you should include static pages and blog posts in the audit as well. And I don't understand the fourth question. Do you want me to verify that? I don't understand. Please explain. I'm only gonna... This is fucking mirror behind me. I never saw so much of my fucking flat ass. Here you go. Which issue is more... Yeah. No. One of the issues is that I have my mouse cursor. I'm selecting the wrong box when I'm speaking, and that happens sometimes. Here we go. All right. Okay. Okay, I don't know what it's... So I copied... Don't worry about it. what I meant by verify. Okay. Yeah, audit all existing pages from the file system, reconcile with data files in the sitemap, make sure you get the static pages, make sure you do everything that we just talked about. And again, if you have any other questions, ask. Definitely ask. Okay, and over here, auto select chapters in the structure page. Yeah, let's plan this. For issue number 2, when I say activate, I mean clicking on a chapter to select it. Yeah. Clicking it again to select the checkbox or check the checkbox, that's a separate action. I consider the first thing to be activating and the second thing to be selecting, but it doesn't matter. The point is that when we first click on a chapter, it should load in the right panel immediately. Priority. Which issue is more urgent? It doesn't matter. We can do them both with whatever the dependency graph implies is fine with me. I shouldn't just say things like that, dependency graph, because it's going to start thinking about, maybe it's going to create a dependency graph. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's what I want, right? Okay, that's the end of that mango punch. You can group these using whichever information architecture best serves our users and SEO and GEO and AEO and all the optimizations. You can combine them if you think that will improve our search optimization strategy. However, it's possible that compare and alternative are both separate keywords that deserve their own paths, potentially. For SEO features, we want to track every single thing that we will be employing because that's going to set our precedent for optimization in the future. And we want best-in-class optimization. For number 3, for static pages, yeah, we want the same 12-column checklist as every other page. Some things won't be relevant, and that's okay. That's okay. We can indicate that, but it's good to have it there so that we can see it. Priority, should I flag certain pages? Priority, flag them however you want because we're going to do them all. We're going to do them all. And we're even going to need to update the about page probably sooner than later, but we're going to do them all. I'm also curious, why are you splitting this up between static pages and like tools and books pages or PLTR pages? Are those not static? Are those different somehow? I don't know. What about these edge cases? Homepage, special treatment? No, homepage is homepage 2. Or rather, let's just make the homepage the same. Just do it the same somehow. It doesn't even matter, but it's got to be on the list. Um, yeah, error pages, legal pages, status page, do those too, but those can be like meta pages because they're different. Do you make sense? Does that make sense? Ask any further questions to help clarify the requirements. Goodness. Okay. Oh, static routes. Static versus dynamic routes. So I don't even know about that. Okay. Should book lists be under books? Yeah, book lists should definitely be under books. I guess it depends on what you mean by under. Like it's not going to be subject to the same optimization schema or criteria, but I guess that doesn't matter. Technically, it's under books. All meta pages need to be tracked. All meta pages need to be tracked. Feature pages absolutely need to be in the main audit, period. Blog posts, definitely we want individual blog posts tracked. I know that might seem like a lot, but well, we might just need some programmatic way to do this. But for now, let's just track them. We don't have that many. Where are we? All right, back to SEO. I had to cut my hair. All right, we're good. Cool, yeah, we're good. Flow plan created, yeah. Auto select all chapters when arriving at structure page. All right. Gonna review the plan. Oh yeah, that's okay. Oh goodness, yeah, right. So earlier when I was talking about sharing this experience and not enough exposure, um, I wasn't just thinking about this as some kind of therapy, you know? I was actually thinking about how this is a great way to network. Because usually the people that are in that space, I think, have a certain amount of honesty about what they're doing, um, as opposed to people who are attempting to teach others for money on YouTube and school. They can just use the reality around attention harvesting to basically power a funnel, you know, for a community. And you go into some of these communities and they're super dead, but that doesn't stop the model from working and being the dominant model. I guess it would have to be the dominant model, though, because if it wasn't, then these people would end up in community's trying to do something more like what I'm talking about, and you can't have Danny's without Evil Olive, right? For everyone who doesn't know, Danny's in Chicago was a sweet little dive with a pretty decent cocktail bar staffed by some of Chicago's finest, musicians and artists, and they had a good little dance hall. It was actually just shaped like an apartment, like this one, and the dining room was maybe a little bigger than this one, and you could catch some pretty good DJs, and it was a hot, sweaty mess. It was great, but then you had Evil Olive, more like the it could range between like a top 40s bro club and a leather fake leather goth night, and despite how cool that sounds, it wasn't that cool. Maybe at least the latter half of that. Actually, that was okay. That was the coolest thing there. Point and Chicken was. I don't know what happened to those guys, but they were fun. They were fun. But that turned into its own thing, and I stopped following it. But yeah, you can't have one without the other, right? So as long as you have people in school just basically terrorizing anyone looking for an actual education, for every one of those, if every one of those inhabited the same spaces as the actual communities that I'm talking about, then to everyone. All right, back to the topic. Epic has been okay. Let's go. Flow next plan work. All right. Oh, and what's next? So I brought all that up to actually come back to the original menu item. So yeah, for the past 18 months, we've been doing consulting on AI for hedge funds, PE firms, tech companies, and the New York Times, and more, helping teams move from using AI for general research to building specific solutions that run entire workflows. A year ago, we helped clients use AI to analyze earnings call scripts. It's interesting. Why am I saying this is interesting? Because there's a question of where the threat from AI comes from. So, it comes from everywhere. That's the point. It doesn't come just from giving developers power tools like Claude Code. That's not it. That's part of it, but that's just one product. These AI companies are building products that will sell. So we get cool tools, great. And then consumers get cool tools. And the cool tools that those consumers get, this is just my speculation, undermine a lot of the low-hanging fruit that the newly, wielded developers would be building. And so the threat comes from below, from new developers always aspiring to get higher and higher fruit, because the low stuff is getting competed away by the AI groups themselves. And then there's also just the threat from the AI groups, so like, it's a funny example to use, but OpenAI released the Agent Builder. The Agent Builder didn't end agent building as like a profession, but at the same time, Claude Cowork might actually end some roles, Um, but then, so the threat comes from the AI providers themselves. It comes from underneath, from developers, and then it also comes from software companies that are crossing the chasm in a weird way, from just being from just using AI as a as an add-on to actually just recentering the whole software onto AI. I think QuickBooks, did I read that QuickBooks is onto something like this? Like in the next year, they're shutting down like QuickBooks Online, and replacing it with some other service that is, I think, highly agentic. But I don't know. I didn't get very deep into that. I thought I saw that somewhere. And anyway, the threats coming from all places. So it's interesting to hear this article. So, I was telling you, this all started with my saying that I brainstorm as I read. But this article kind of reflects one of the positions that I was sort of fencing, like everyone can go have their own co-work buddies, but unless everyone just has assistants, then like businesses don't change that much. There's just maybe fewer people in a business. But if we kind of flip it so that instead of just having assistants, you have like an agent doing the core work. Sorry, I'm distracted here with the SEO updates. Okay. I mean, long story short, in some of these cases, in some possible timelines, it could end up that just like with Web 2 and Web 1 to Web 2, that like someone's going to have to do the transitions. Someone's going to actually have to know about deployment and requirements and practices and processes, at least until we get to, full agentic self-installing, self-running tools, and even that, like, so, people still have to be held responsible. We have a legal system that is largely, I think, centered on like people making guarantees and promises, and agreements, and not agents making agreements, because you can't punish an agent. So, so there's always still people involved in the transition at this point, and so I was thinking about, when I was making these business cards, exactly what it is that I would like to focus on, and depending on who I focus on, right, I'm either competing with go high level AI expansions and plugins and add-ons and stuff like that, from people building things like Go high-level competitors using vibe coded tools. I end up competing with all these different kinds of services, and then it's like, well, maybe you just resell it, and then we're back to like selling AI. I don't know how that sounds to you, but we're selling rice in China. I'm sure that's very lucrative for some people. I'm not sales oriented these days, so I'm not ready to lie to people. What am I talking about? But yeah, ultimately it comes back to it would collapse into sales, and so that's if I reach out to certain kinds of businesses. The other kind of business would maybe be more compliance oriented, since people need to be responsible. But then the question, I'm not familiar with any particular regulatory spaces, I could become familiar with the regulatory space if I had some sense of promise that space would grow, or that the regulations would not change dramatically. And this is probably me just proving too much or just doing too much, but I feel like all that shit's gonna change. I feel like everything's changing. Between crypto and AI, we simply don't have a government that's fast enough to respond to any of this stuff, and things will have to change. All right, so we got updates here. That was a long one. Interesting. So it actually didn't find 17. It found... Let me install and relaunch. Okay. Well, whatever. In the end, it didn't find that many, so it's okay. Interesting. Books. We got books list, hardest books to read. Ah, yeah. Interesting. Tools, Old English. Yeah. Ah, some are inherited from the template. Very nice. Nice little... Okay. So far, so good. It looks good. And now we have to identify... Now that we have a full list with expandable categories, can we double check all of the columns? We have a lot here: date mod, FAQ, how to, QA page, speakable, citations, progress. We have a lot here. The question is that sufficient? Is that everything? And then B, what do we actually need to update when looking at this? Cool. Yeah. I remember using repo prompt, man, months and months ago. It was like, this makes all the difference. You know, this is back when I was using Roo code, and it just was not. It was confusing. I didn't understand what I was doing. I mean, I understood in theory what I was doing, but that UI, moly, that UI is a work in progress. It is intense. Okay, you're right to double check. Let me review and identify the gaps. Yeah, 12 current columns. Potential technical SEO is optimized. Yep, sounds good. Yeah, you can go ahead and add these additional columns. I think the columns will get a little too narrow and we won't be able to read the headings. Resolve that however you want, but ensure that we add all of the columns. And yes, as a matter of fact, if you think there's more missing pages to find, please find them. I thought you did that already, but if I'm wrong, please do that. So
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.